The objective of this recording is to talk through how to complete an independent samples t-test using SPSS. Now, within this particular dataset, I have three groups, of which we have a control group, a placebo, and a collagen group, which is our experimental group. And in this column over here, we have the dependent variable, which is their hip range of motion in percentage. Now, when I was setting this particular data set up, I used value labels to indicate which group is which, and I used the numbers 1, 2, and 3 for the separate groups. Now, if I want to do a independent samples t-test between the control group and the collagen group, I would need to use the numbers 1 and 3. So the first thing I'd need to do is check the distribution of data. If you want to look at another video to show you how to do that in SPSS, please look on my pages. So the Analyze menu, Compare Means and Independent Samples t-test. Move the grouping variable over, and it's at this point that we need to select the groups that we want to do. So I'm going to click on Define Groups, and it's asking for the numbers that we use to assign the groups. So I want to do the control group versus the experimental group. So I'm going to type those numbers in here, and I'll press Continue. If I wanted to do different groups, I would alter the numbers that are within this Define Groups window. I need to move my dependent variable over and then select OK to create our output. When you get an independent samples t-test, you get some means and standard deviations which you could use to work out Cohen's d, which unfortunately SPSS has yet to add to its functionality. In terms of the independent samples t-test here, the first table we need to look at is Levene's test of equality of variance, which is an assumption test for an independent samples t-test. Levene's test is working out whether the variance of the two groups is similar or dissimilar. And if we get a probability value greater than 0.05, it means that we can assume equal variances. This particular value is greater than 0.05, so I would need to report the equal variances assumed line of the independent samples t-test. Were this particular value to be below 0.05, we'd use the Welch correction, which is equal variances not assumed, and we'd report the bottom line of that t-test down here. So in terms of looking at the results, we get our t-test value over here, which has come from the mean and standard deviations, the degrees of freedom here, and the probability value that their null hypothesis is true, which is particularly small here. So looking at this particular example, this is a significant result for our t-test, and there'd be a difference in hip range of motion percentage between our control group and our collagen group. Looking at the means here, you can see that the collagen group has a greater mean value, which indicates that there's a greater range of motion between the two, and therefore the collagen group is better. I hope this helps you in terms of calculating an independent samples t-test using SPSS.